And we're live. The presentation will begin soon. Mike, you know the drill, right?
Yep, we ready to go?
Well, we're going to wait until the countdown timer hits.
Okay, well, it's kind of stuck at 2 minutes, 27 seconds.
Isn't that nice?
Oh, there it goes, there it goes, just refresh, okay, awesome.
But masks must remain on statewide at schools, public transportation, state healthcare settings, nursing homes, correctional facilities, and homeless shelters. In the city, the key to NYC vaccination requirements is still in place. We need to be vaccinated. Movie with museums, large arenas, gyms, and fitness centers. You're in the city and unvaccinated, the requirement is that you must only be masked and public. That's right. New York City, I often do. I'm still going to see a lot of people wear masks because they don't feel safer. That is something that they're very welcome and encouraging to do. When it comes to masks, schools here in New York State, it remains in place. Governor Hochul saying that she's going to take a look at the new. I think it's a month. Here on the Upper West Side of Candace McCall, Channel 7. Students and parents protesting in Connecticut are not satisfied with the state will lift its mask mandates at the end of the month. They want it now. The group gathered now for the governor delivered state of the state address yesterday.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the February 2022 edition of the Garden State Java User Group meeting. Before we get started, I'm going to do my formal set of slides. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I'll share my screen. I don't see myself here. Doesn't matter. No one needs to see me anyway. Yeah. So as per usual.
That's not true, Mike. Everyone needs to see you.
That's okay. So I'd like to thank our sponsors as we do every month. To talk about what might be new, introduce Emily Jiang, and we'll have our IntelliJ IDEA license at the end. So you need to be present to win, essentially, and we'll do more of that a little bit later. So our platinum sponsor for last year and for this year now has been JFrog. So we appreciate their support. Those of you who've been with us all of last year know that Ari Waller, head of developer relations at JFrog, would make a cameo appearance and do a giveaway and things of that nature. So we look forward to seeing Ari this year. We are partnered with DevNexus, which, by the way, is going to be held in April. And there are a lot of folks that will be attending this conference, especially from the leadership here, and also Emily, I think you're scheduled to speak there. If I remember correctly. Yeah. So yeah, and a lot of the other Java luminaries that you may have follow on Twitter or familiar with. We have our per meeting sponsors, which is JetBrains, and they're the ones who send us the free licenses that we can give away at the end of each meeting. And we also have to mention Jakarta EE because they still provide free licenses to, well, it's not a license, to Crowdcast, the full use of Crowdcast for delivering meetings. I know I've mentioned this in the past, but this is relevant for today about MicroProfile 5. It was released in early December, but it's, there's a lot of interaction with Jakarta EE. And version 10 is supposed to come out in the second quarter of this year. Some of the specifications have already been, passed with their reviews. So you'll hear more about that as we go. So if you follow my Java News Roundups, you'll see I'll mention Jakarta EE10 in various stages. We do have, for InfoQ, we do have the trends report that was put out at the end of last year. And if you're interested in reading that on, you'll hear from a lot of different folks other than the InfoQ editors on what's going on in the Java space. And this is still relevant. I keep saying that it was extended to December, but if you're interested in doing some community acceptance testing for Jakarta, you can do so. Now, this is nothing to do with actual formal TCK testing type of thing. This is a way to go to the GitHub, clone the repository, play with the examples, and if you see something that might be broken or needs attention, then this is your way to provide that information. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Emily Jiang. Do I pronounce that correctly, Emily?
Yeah, very good.
Okay. All right, good. I just thought about asking finally, right? So Emily is a Liberty Cloud native architect and developer advocate at IBM, a Java champion, cloud native architect with practical experience of building cloud native applications, a MicroProfile guru, leading a number of the MicroProfile specs. I believe config is one of them. And I think you're going to lead the new telemetry.
Yeah, I'm a part of the, yeah.
I'm sure you're going to hear more about that as we go. So,
yeah.
Well-known speaker. I don't know how many times I've seen you speak already, part of one and other conferences. And those of you who may not know, the Garden State Java Group is a contributing member to the MicroProfile Working Group, which launched in October of 2020. And we're involved in steering committee meetings and everything else throughout the year, usually every Tuesday. There is a community hangout for anybody in the Java community to come say hello, hear what's going on, and especially in the MicroProfile space. As well, there's a Jakarta EE working group as well. So we're involved in that. There's also a new book that came out in July of last year. It's Practical Cloud Native Java Development in MicroProfile. Emily is one of the co-authors, and I was honored to have been asked to review the book along with Ivar Grimstad. So that was a lot of fun. And so if you get a chance to get a copy, just ping me and I can send you a link to the page where you can purchase a copy. So without further ado, Emily, I will stop sharing and thanks for being here too, by the way. This is great.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael, for the great introduction. And thank you, Garden State Jiang, for inviting me to be here. This is my first time to do a talk at Garden State Jiang. So hopefully one day I can go there to do a visit the Jiang in person. So it's things open up, like in March, I will go to Javaland to do a talk. And then again, in April, we'll go to Nexus. So things looked up. So it's, let's get started with the talk. So let me share my screen. So let's make this kind of the meeting to be very interactive. So it's if you have any questions, just raise your hand, just unmute yourself and ask. So it's basically we can solve all the your questions as we go along. So it's I'm going to talk about MicroProfile. Last year's two releases, 4.1, 5.0, and then we'll towards the end we talk about the future of MicroProfile. So what we are going to do this year is also I will do a demo to use the MicroProfile 4.1 and 5.0 on Open Liberty, which is one of the implementation of MicroProfile. So it's let's see. So for Mike talk about MicroProfile. Can you put your name on the chat? Who has not heard of MicroProfile? Have all of you have heard of MicroProfile? If you haven't, can you say no? So I want to see who else haven't heard of MicroProfile.
Emily, I just want to remind you that there, oh, no, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
wanted to remind you that there may be a 20-second delay, but that's not going on today. Everybody's right on target.
Okay, that's brilliant. So I have not heard anybody saying no. So let's assume you all know MicroProfile already. So let me just spend kind of a few seconds to explain a little bit about background. So MicroProfile, started in the 2016. At that time, as if you rewound our clock back to 2010, at that time, like microservices was booming. And then the people started wondering, is Java kind of the language, the programming language for doing microservices? And then people rushed to Go and to Python and etc. Actually, it's kind of eventually they all come back to question, why not Java? Actually, it's kind of Java is the ideal tool for doing microservices. The only thing is Java at that time not evolving that fast. Like Java is stagnant and Spring, and people complain too bulky. And with that, it's kind of a few companies like IBM, Red Hat, Payara, Tommy Tribe, and also a few others go together and say, let's set up a new initiative, let's call it MicroProfile, to be moving really fast to look at cloud native APIs. So this is why the MicroProfile was set up. So from this the timeline, you can see there's more than many releases as we go along. This back in the 2016 has 1.0, and then we have first release, first spec is the config, and then the second I worked from the day one on the MicroProfile config. So basically, it's I was a main contributor for the MicroProfile config, and then with the config, we established all the process along the way, and then in return, I help other specs such as fault tolerance, which is also I'm heavily involved in that, and the health metrics, GWT, and etc. So it's, as you can see here is one thing I want to mention is the MicroProfile is built on top of the Java EE. So back in the 1.0, actually there's nothing new in MicroProfile. We just say, oh, let's borrow Java EE 7 spec like JAX-S, CDN, JSON-P. At that time, JSON-B was not even released. And then it's all the time we based on this Java EE technologies. And then is in the MicroProfile 2, we say, okay, let's move up to be Java EE 8. And then is back into the MicroProfile 4. So at that time is kind of the, we set up the MicroProfile working group in October, and in December we said, okay, let's use the new process, MicroProfile spec process, to release MicroProfile 4.0, which is based on Jakarta E8. And then last year, at the end of December, actually is on the Jakarta 1, on that day we released the MicroProfile 5, which is based on Jakarta E 9.1, which is today's main focus. So as you know, if you don't know Jakarta, so it's Jakarta EE is the base 9.1 is the kind of one of the huge change is a Jakarta namespace change. So basically it's a change all of the JavaX to Jakarta. So Jakarta is the new future. So Java EE is the JavaX package is dead. So that's why we are very keen to move up to the Jakarta E 9.1. So this is I mentioned a bit earlier. So this is today's main focus. 4.1 release, we updated the MicroProfile Health 3.1. Actually, this release is interesting because the last year we really want to focus on to align with the Jakarta E 9.1. We don't want to have many kind of the functionality changes because we want to make the migration is very kind of smooth. So it's no functional change. However, because it's a Kubernetes update and etc., and then we need to change the update MicroProfile Health and to take in a new update from Kubernetes, which I will discuss in a minute. So it's MicroProfile 4.1 was released in July 2021. So it's I mentioned earlier, it's the only one spec change, which is the Health 3.1. Why do we need to do this MicroProfile Health 3.1? It's because at the end of 2020, Kubernetes released 1.16 version. So in this version, they introduced a startup probe. As you know, if you have a monolith application, and normally they will, or either some other microservices you written, is very slow start. However, if you know, Kubernetes in the previous version only have liveness probe or the readiness probe, and then it will give you some time. It says, after this. Like a second or millisecond, I'm going to check your liveness status. If you are not alive, I will destroy you. Maybe you got some problem, or will restart you. So with this, for that slow applications, and they run into a deadlock, keep on in the middle starting and being destroyed and restarted. So which is why we need a kind of the startup probe. Basically, this startup probe says, stop check my readiness or liveness status. Just check on me. Once I say this, I'm started, and then you can monitor whether this application is healthy or still alive and etc. So which is why the Kubernetes introduced startup probe. As you might know, MicroProfile Health is kind of linked very closely with Kubernetes. So this is the health. We have the corresponding startup check and liveness check and readiness check. So previously in the 3.0 and earlier version, we only have liveness and readiness check. And then we have two endpoints exposed /health/live and also /health/ready. And with 3.1, we added /health/started and also add a new annotation called startup. So this will contribute to the startup probe. And this will be a liveness probe. This is readiness probe. So in the 4.1, actually is, as I mentioned, just Health 3.1, a spec update. However, kind of in the past, we just say, we MicroProfile umbrella release, the platform release, utilize Jakarta, utilize CDI, JSON-B, JSON-P, JAX-RS. Actually, is that we kind of transitively bring in the Jakarta annotations. So in the 4.1, we say, properly acknowledge. Actually, we also bring in Jakarta annotations. And also 4.1 is the first release. We say before you can release 4.1, and you must have the compatible implementation. So it means you are not allowed to release 4.1 before the implementation, proof. Actually, all of the TCKs can be run successfully. So this is the first like a platform release require compatible certification. So this is a kind of the final picture for the photo one. So it's one update. And as you can see here, is we call it a platform release. Here, like we have a reactive messaging, reactive stream operators, context propagation, GraphQL, LI. This is all called standalone specifications. So they are not part of this group as yet. So as I mentioned earlier, like in order to release MicroProfile 4.1, we have to have a compatible implementation to say, yeah, I can get all of the MicroProfile TCK to run. So we use actually OpenLiberty 2108-beta. So basically it's I work very closely with like this release. I make sure all the TCK run successfully and with a proof. So we use this beta driver to release 4.1. And also shortly after 2109 is the first production use for the MicroProfile 4.1 from OpenLiberty. And soon after, Quarkus, Wildfly, and recently Payara also support MicroProfile 4.1. MicroProfile 5.0 actually was the main focus last year. So I think actually we had a long conversation about how to support like a Jakarta namespace. Is a kind of, there was a really kind of the, do we need to change the source like for implementation, or do they want to do the transformer and transformer one source code in to support both JavaX or Jakarta? So there was a long conversation. So basically, I led the MicroProfile 5. So this is basically with some prototype and prove like both you could change the source or you can use a transformer to be able to implement a MicroProfile 5. So basically, it's also is helped with many of the specifications to do the MicroProfile like 5 related activities about Jakarta EE 9.1 alignment. So this is a greater exercise, even though it hasn't got a lot of functional changes, but it's kind of we laid the very stable foundation for the future evolution of MicroProfile. And we tried our best, and eventually we got it released on the 7th December. Why this is very special with this date? If you can remember, and this is the Jakarta One Live. So basically, I had one talk on MicroProfile. That talk, I announced the release of MicroProfile 5. So I will remember this date for a long time. Are there any questions? Okay, I can't see the chat. If someone posts any question, Mike, please stop me. Yeah.
Yeah, we're monitoring. You know, okay. The chat. So, and by the way, Jakarta One's an awesome conference.
yeah, Jakarta One live stream. Yeah, the conference. Thank you. So this. Yeah, so this is the kind of the kind of the status for MicroProfile 5. You can see all the building blocks, all of them have major change, like open tracing, open API, REST client config, fault tolerance metrics, JWT health, and then the bottom of 5 is all the Jakarta specifications. And also in the same time, context propagation also has done the Jakarta 9.1 alignment. So as we speak, and the other specs, this is the 4 specs also making progress to be Jakarta 9.1 alignment. Otherwise, if they don't do the alignment, they won't be able to work with the MicroProfile 5.0. So to recap, like MicroProfile 5.0 is kind of aligned with Jakarta 9.1. There's 8 MicroProfile component specs. update their dependencies from JavaX to Jakarta. So there's no functional changes due to like the easy for the migration purpose. So it's for implementing the MicroProfile for the 5.1. I mentioned earlier, there's two ways to implement it. One is kind of directly like change all your source code from JavaX to Jakarta. The second thing is we use the Eclipse Transformer, which is a project under Eclipse Foundation. Is directly initiated by BJ from IBM, and BJ and Tom's Betondium, two main maintainers are still working actively on the Eclipse Transformer. So basically, this transformer can transform the binary from JavaX to Jakarta. So I will demo in a minute and to see whether you can utilize it to transform your application from JavaX to Jakarta.
Hey,
So
Emily, can I
yeah.
ask a quick question about Transformer? Maybe.
Go ahead.
I was under the impression when we, the Java community went to, to do the Big Bang, as they called it, to migrate from the Java X to the Jakarta namespace, that the Transformer would be a useful tool to do that, just like you explained. But there was something in a more recent meeting, in the MicroProfile meeting, I think it was, where it's only temporary, or is it not I don't know. Can you maybe clarify what I may have heard or not have heard?
Yeah, so it's good question. So it's like the transformer. If you transform the, for example, one source into two binaries, one is for JavaX, the other one is for the Jakarta. So for this one, basically you maintain one source, right? One source, but you use transformer to duplicate two flavors. For this one, like when MicroProfile adding more things, you can't really have your source, one source and to work on both. That's only if you just keep one source and to work for both JavaX and Jakarta. So that will be the kind of the temporary. Basically, it's before these new things added to the same source, and then you can keep it that way. But once the kind of there's a new change added to the Jakarta, so the name is, and then is you have to do more work, and probably it's no longer work with the JavaX anymore. So this is kind of the transformer. However, if you use the transformer directly transform your source from JavaX to Jakarta, so basically you maintain two streams. And then it's the kind of JavaX is kind of maintenance mode, and Jakarta will be under active development. So all the new code will be on the Jakarta, that flavor. And then it's kind of the JavaX is more like a service maintainable kind of that kind of stream.
Okay. No, thank you for that. Yeah. It's, I haven't tried it yet, so I'd like to try that exercise one of these days. But no, I appreciate the explanation on that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So thanks for the question. I will demo in a minute about the transformer. For the 5.0, again, is kind of we use actually some I personally led Open Liberty teams and deliver beta driver. It's called Open Liberty 2201 dash beta back in the December time. Is kind of that's kind of the compatible implementation for the 5.0, and then we released in January 2201 Open Liberty, the first production ready release to support 5.0. So I'm very happy to say Open Liberty is the first runtime support both the latest Jakarta E release and MicroProfile release. So we are very kind of standard driven, and there is a focus on kind of the innovation and etc. in the open source communities. So this is also demonstrate how the open source projects communities can help with each other and heading towards one single goal, which is make our application developers' life a lot easier. And then, I mean, soon after, WildFly 22.0 Dolphino also released to support 5.0. So also I know both Piara and Helidon also is trying to support 5.0. So maybe very soon they will be able to announce their support. For Open Liberty, actually, is what we kind of have done this all quickly is that we utilize heavily on the Eclipse Transformer. So we transform the binary directly from JavaX to Jakarta. So it's basically we transform the code and then produce two flavors. So it's actually it's kind of the for you as an end user, if you want to develop cloud native applications or want rework your existing cloud native applications for future development and etc. If you need to actively maintain this one, I highly recommend you need to move up from JavaX to Jakarta namespace. And you can do the source level transformation. This is highly recommended if you want to do more application development. So this is back to Michael's question. So this is kind of permanent, and this is long term. So you can use this very crude. This is command I use to finish with all the MicroProfile, a lot of MicroProfile specifications and transform the Java and also transform some other JavaX related files to from JavaX to Jakarta. And for the source level transformation, you also can use the Eclipse Transformer to do so. So it's actually it transforms so many things automatically. And for the libraries and etc. And then maybe you don't have the source code anymore. You don't need to maintain it. You don't need to basically put a more active development on it. For that one, you might just use binary level transformation. So you can use the Eclipse Transformer to transform the binary directly from the JavaX to Jakarta. If you develop a new application, so this is kind of a few days ago, one of my colleagues asked me, is writing a new application internally? And he asked me, oh, do I need to use JavaX or Jakarta? I said, yeah, Jakarta is a new feature. You don't need to go back to use the JavaX. So also you have tooling to help you to do it. So it's obviously once you write this kind of a new Shiny application, you need to deploy to a runtime support both. So you need to use Open Liberty or WildFly and so after others as well. And also Open Liberty has a starter. So basically you can directly create an application, directly work on the 5.0 and the Jakarta EE 9.1 as well. I'm sure there's other runtime also very soon will provide you with more kind of starter and also other tools. So with that, I'm going to do a quick demo, both MicroProfile 4.1 and 5.0 on Open Liberty 22.01. Okay. Let me see, are there any questions? Okay, I've not seen any.
Emily, I have a question. Maybe this is a bit of a basic question for me or for others. So when I look at MicroProfile and I know that it works with Jakarta EE, what is the difference when it comes to frameworks like Spring Framework in terms of implementation? So how does it work?
Yeah, very good question. So it's actually MicroProfile is alternative and Spring are two alternative solutions for developing cloud native applications. As a matter of fact, actually, I wrote a blog is about MicroProfile and Spring comparison.
By the way, this was my very first question when I heard about MicroProfile. So I thought people might want to know about it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very good. So I have a YouTube video. I talk about this comparison. And also I wrote a kind of a very thorough blog to directly compare them side by side. So you can see they're very comparable. And then is towards the end reach a conclusion. So MicroProfile is kind of the open standard, open source, and is a bigger collaboration among the different companies. And also MicroProfile obviously started late. Like Spring started quite a few, many years ago. And then you got a service discovery and etc. A lot of things kind of now is taken over by Kubernetes. Yeah, MicroProfile just focus on the application development for the kind of all the service discovery and etc. All left left to like a Kubernetes. So basically, MicroProfile have a clear cut. Okay, I only focus on the application APIs, and all the cloud related stuff will be taken control by the either cloud infrastructure or by other libraries. So this is the kind of a big thing, a big difference. The other thing is MicroProfile also is based on the Java EE or the Jakarta EE, and also is heavily annotation, focused. So it's very, very easy to get started. If you know Java EE or Jakarta EE, is the kind of you don't need to spend much time to know to learn MicroProfile. You just get a heads on pretty quickly. So it's so that's kind of the pretty much the difference about it. So it's I think
I
it's
like the comparison table. It's pretty neat. And I want to mention the fact that Spring applications take a lot of startup time, and it's a fat jar. And it looks like MicroProfile is really sleek in that ways, and it starts up pretty quickly. So a lot of applications can make use of that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really good summary. Thank you, Neha. Actually, to add another thing, is the MicroProfile, there's a dozen runtime for you to choose from. You don't need to learn if without MicroProfile, probably you have to learn these 12 things. And with MicroProfile, you just learn one thing and then use across the board. Yeah, thanks for the question. And then, if you want to listen or watch my conference that talk about comparison, you can go to YouTube as well. With that, let me start my ID. So it's so in MicroProfile we have the I use VS Code. So in MicroProfile we have a VS Code plugin extension pack has a MicroProfile. If you are IntelliJ user, I know towards the end you are going to do a raffle about the IntelliJ license. If you are IntelliJ user, and also there's a plugin also MicroProfile plugin, is all use the MicroProfile starter in the background. So it's let's see here. If you call the artifact ID, maybe I just say just Jiang, and then I can say it's a 4.1 get deployed to Open Liberty. I can say Java 11, I do Maven, I do all of them. Just focus on the 4.1, 5.0, as this 8 specifications. Let me go to this folder. turn it here. So with that starter, so it's basically is I have two services. Service A, let me make it bigger. Service A and Service B, and Service A directly call into Service B. So this demonstrate all of them like MicroProfile functionalities, config, health. As you can see, the health. So this is kind of the it's a Lebanese. This is the Lebanese chat. So basically, this is the kind of you can plug in the Lebanese like the all the logic to see when this application is live, and also is ready. So here you might just say, okay, if it's kind of the you can connect with the database, you can, so that means ready. So in the photo one, so I mentioned earlier, so it's we added like another annotation called startup. So it's this is the startup annotation. So it's and then you can just provide kind of the business logic here, and when do you mean this microservice is started. So in here you could see maybe the endpoint is can be written a hello, and then you say, okay, I'm started, and then is the Kubernetes can later on can check your liveness or readiness. So with that, let me just start this service A. I just start as Liberty Dev mode. So Liberty Dev. And then at the same time, let me start service B. Again, I will start. Yeah, just to show you what it's like. So they both should get like photo one. Like this feature installed. So it's in the Liberty. So it's in the POM, in this Maven in the POM. As you can see, the Java 11 I choose, and also is kind of the it is a MicroProfile photo one. So MicroProfile photo one is pull in all these kind of the 13 all these 13 like specifications. 8 MicroProfile stack and 5 Jakarta stack. So basically it's the kind of the all of the APIs available to you immediately after you add this dependency. In Liberty, so basically you just need to say, okay, this is a photo one. So it's all the kind of the app all started. You can see the service A live on localhost 9080. Let's go back. If I go to localhost 9080, so you can see here is a hello world. So this is a hello world one. So it's is directly linked to the JAX-RS the operation is hello MUC. This one, so it's just let's say hello world. So if I say hello world garden stage Jiang. If I do that, I can demonstrate like now if I go back here, so I can see is the garden state Jiang. So with this Liberty Dev mode, like basically you don't need to restart like the Java process is automatically restarting for you. So the other thing is the kind of the in here, like all the this is can inject a config. So this is kind of the startup. So you can see all the startup is the written response in JSON format. So the other thing is kind of the open API. So you can see is all the endpoints and directly is the kind of the displayed. If OpenLiberty also provide you UI, so you can see all the UI as well. The other thing is the kind of the here REST client directly this demonstrates service A directly go into service B. So in here, I can just like So the client, so this one. So this is the kind of the service B stop. So let me show you the service B first. So the service B is in service controller, so it has an operation do something, get operation has a parameter. If a service A want to call into service B, they use the rest of the client. How can it do it? So basically, it's only need to create an interface, like with the same operation, do something, and it's got a get operation with a path, and then annotated with the register rest client, and make it CDI bin, and then you can directly inject that. You can directly inject other REST client to service, and you can directly call the service to do something. And then you might think, okay, how does it know where does the service B lives? So obviously you need to configure that. So for the configuration, basically you can use the MicroProfile configuration to directly this is the fully qualified class name for the service, fully qualified class name. Como example, Jessica client.service and /mprest/URL. So this is where service B lives. So as you can see, it's directly call into service B. Let's change the service B here response with hi, this is the service B. You can see, let me save this one. You can, let's go back here. You can see the service A directly call, and now it's that's a real call into service B. So for this, and then the other thing is the kind of the open tree, the tracing aspect. Also, you can trace, you can get all the traces span correlated. So it's this is just a job, and you can see find the trace. And you can see all this span correlated. So it's give you one trace. So you know the service B spent the 4.8 millisecond and to return the response. So you know that this is the MicroProfile 4.01 is all working beautifully. Now is say okay, 4.1 is still JavaX, right? It's still JavaX. Let's go back to see all of them are JavaX. So let me stop them. Let's say this application. Basically, I have this application. I want to do further development. I know JavaX is dead. I need to move to Jakarta. Let me stop that. If you want to move to Jakarta namespace, so you have to use the MicroProfile 5. So all the previous version only work with the JavaX namespace. So in doing that, for your migration purpose, all you need to do is okay, I change this one to 5.0. As you can see immediately, your things are not compile anymore. Obviously, all the a server XML in the OpenLiberty also at runtime, I also need to make sure it's a 5.0. So I just change 2 places. Let me change that. So for both the service A and the service B, I change the POM and the POM and the server XML. So POM is control the compile, and server XML controls the runtime. So basically during runtime, I need to make sure load all the runtime support MicroProfile 5. As you can see here is your code is not compile anymore. You see that, oh, that's easy. Let me just change it here, JavaX, and maybe you need a Jakarta. However, it's very tedious if you go through all the code and then trying to change it line by line. It's very tedious, and also changing the Java source code is not the only place. You also, if you have a service loader pattern, you also need to change the file name, or even change some documentation inside the file. So this is not scalable. So, and in order to save time, and we use a new tool called Eclipse Transformer. So it's let me make it bigger. So I have Eclipse Transformer, like the binary downloaded earlier is called org Eclipse Transformer CLI 0.3-snapshot. So basically what I can do, I just see Java manage jar. This is the transformer. And then I give the kind of the source. I give the things need to be transformed. So this will be garden state Jiang. And then I transform to be garden state Jiang. I call it Jakarta. And it will transform. So it's while it's being transformed, let me show you like show you the transformer. How does the transformer works? So we have in Open Liberty, we have a lot of blogs. So as you can see, it's a lot of blogs about how to use Open Liberty features and etc. So there's one blog is about transformer. So it's in this transformer that was written by Thomas Bibtonti. So he worked very closely with BJ on the transformer, Eclipse Transformer. So it will tell you exactly how to get a hold of the latest transformer and also how to use the transformer to transform. So you can download the jar or you can directly extract from the GitHub repo and build the zip, the jar yourself. And running a transformer, this is exactly like a command I'm using, like a target location and output location. Also you can specify a lot of the parameters. By the way, this transformer, by default, you transform JavaX to Jakarta. If you want to transform other package, you can do so as well. You can specify the parameter, etc. And then you can do a dash usage to show you how to use it. And then you can like do some other service configuration. So with that, it's all done. Let's go to the garden state job dash Jakarta. And in there. So everything is kind of seems like transformed. So I have let's see about it. See, everything is being transformed to be Jakarta and service and etc. This I don't have any red lines anymore. It's let me just start a server and try to see whether it still works. So I do service A, even Liberty Dev. Do the same thing for service B. Oh, I need to clean first. Need to do a clean. So it's kind of we'll see whether like it will kind of still get the exactly same behavior for after being transformed. So as you can see, service B is already up running. So service A should be up running in a minute. So it's so the next thing want to do is we would also earlier, I didn't explain to you about the MicroProfile JWT. So basically, it's kind of MicroProfile GWT give you the way to kind of how to secure your endpoint for your microservices. So it's how did it like achieve the security aspect, application security aspect? Is it use like Jakarta annotations? So basically use rows allowed. So we said, okay, this endpoint only allow like a protected to access this endpoint. So obviously, if you like allow to invoke this one, you must pass in the row protected. So how to pass in a row? So it's like this is what MicroProfile GWT come into play. So basically, it's it borrowed the GWT concept, and on top of GWT, it add another extra two claims. One is UPN, the other one is groups. So it's in here. I can show you here. So it's basically there's kind of the, for example, is a set of groups, like a set of UPN. So you can get a UPN into the token, and also set of groups. You can get other groups into the token. So in this one, like it belong to both user and protected. So you should be able to access this backend. So let's go back here. See, it's still works. See, this is Garden State Jack, and also the invoke the backend is still says service B. So let's just change a little bit. Service B, if I just change should be Jakarta. Just make sure actually this is a Jakarta version one. So you can see, yeah, that's a real kind of the Jakarta server is working in the background. And also this is one thing I have not showed is the kind of the invoke this backend like in a secure way. If I change the backend, for example, if I change this service B, the secure one, if I say instead of protected, I say super. Obviously, this is will not work. So immediately you got a bitten. So basically, the response will be empty. This let's put it back. Put it back. The other thing is put it back. It should work again. So the other thing is, you know, in the GWT token, if you know the token, actually MicroProfile also, GWT also give you away. Actually, you can even see the token yourself. So JSON web token, you can see token. And you can even print out the token. Token.get row. Okay. So let's go back here. Can see all the gibberish thing is the kind of, this is GWT token. If you go to gwt.io, and then if you post here, because it's encoded, if you post here, you can see, okay, this is type GWT algorithm RS256, and you can see the kind of the group belong to user and protected. So this is the kind of, you see, it's very easy to do the migration, like if you have an existing application. So let me stop that. And then what if you are doing a kind of the brand new application? So for brand new application, I want to show you the Open Liberty starter, starter.openliberty.io. So in here, for example, if I say here, So this one, and then I can see it's like let's say artifact ID, OL, JS Jiang, and then I can choose you can even choose 17. And also there's other version of the GColor or GRVE, and also other version of MicroProfile. So you can see generate project. And then a new terminal. So as you can see here is it give you there's a README, tell you how to do things, MIMW, and also generate the application like a class, and also there's a ServXML. ServXML give you like 2 features, and then the POM have like a MicroProfile and then Decoder, all these dependencies. Actually, you can like for example, you can create your hello world, kind of the hello world, like JAX resources. You can do a path, for example, yeah, to this one. And then I just say, okay, I will say public string greeting. Here written hello button state. Yeah. So this is the kind of get operation. And then the path is waiting. Again, here you can start with Liberty Dev mode, and then it will just install the features, and then it's kind of the get your application up running. So also the other thing is that you got a Docker file, so you can directly like give your base image, UVM image, and also you copy some config files and etc. So it's kind of the with that is kind of the pretty much like with that is pretty much I have covered like both like 4.1 and 5.0 on Open Liberty, and also is talk about this kind of start dot openliberty.io. This with all the all the support with the Decoder and the MicroProfile. I think is let's go back. It should all start. Go. The other thing is like for this new application, for example, I'm not sure like which endpoint I have. I can say OpenAPI UI. It gives me like this endpoint. So I can do a get, I can try it out, execute. I can download this one, or I can directly try that out. So you can see, hello, current state Jiang. So it's so that's a kind of the I demonstrate both way to like either create a new application or migrate older application. So let's go to the third section, which is the one next. So up to now, are there any questions for the 4.1 5.0 before I go to the next chapter?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I
Yeah, go ahead.
was going to ask if there's a server-side rendering component to to MicroProfile.
Server-side rendering, no, we haven't. But that is a very interesting conversation, a very interesting topic. Actually, it's the kind of this year we are trying to open the floor for innovation. So would you like, if you like, that would be a really nice, we can get together and talk about the brainstorm, what kind of server-side rendering you think. Or you can demonstrate your idea in the MicroProfile sandbox. I will briefly touch on how to get your idea materialized. Would you like to do that later?
I don't actually have a proposal for one. I'm just, I work on an application security product. And so my question is more coming from, do I need to think about cross-site scripting attacks in MicroProfile applications? It sounds like the answer is no if we're not rendering pages on the server side. So not so much a proposal to include one, just asking, is that in scope today?
Okay. Yeah, no, we don't, but I can discuss with others to see whether we want to do, explore possibilities in that area. Okay, yeah, thank you for the question. Okay, let me talk about what next. So it's in the earlier, in the 2021, I know 2021, we kind of laid out our 2022 goals. So I listed all the 2022 goals. So basically, we across the board, we want to adopt a Jakarta namespace. And also I mentioned earlier, we want to align all the standalone spec to Jakarta 9.1. At the moment, we already released context propagation. We are working on the GraphQL and also reactive stream operators, reactive messaging, also LRA. The other thing is the kind of for the tracing. If you follow the tracing kind of the topic, as you know, open tracing and open sensors merged and formed a new community called open telemetry. So in MicroProfile, we have a MicroProfile open tracing. So that's no longer kind of become no longer the mainstream. So because of open tracing is pretty much stabilized, pretty much kind of the frozen. So we need to move forward to adopt open telemetry. So it's we just set up a new spec called MicroProfile telemetry. So at the moment is kind of is on the ballot, is on the kind of ballot period. So basically all the working groups say we'll need to vote. They say, okay, this is a great idea. We'll just go ahead with that. And then once that goes through the ballot and we have the MicroProfile telemetry, hopefully we can make a really quicker progress with the with the adoption of the open telemetry. And then the other thing is MicroProfile metrics. MicroProfile metrics based on the job wizard. And however, recently, there's a lot of micrometer usage, and I know Spring use micrometer, and there's also other kind of the greater ecosystem use micrometer. So MicroProfile metrics, spec teams are also evaluated to bring in the micrometer. So this is about metrics. And also we want to evaluate some new specifications. So we want to focus on innovation. Also, we want to see whether we want to set up a new spec called converters. So basically this is kind of directly extract converter from the MicroProfile config. So in the config, we need to convert a string out to the different types. some other spec also need to convert from one type to the other. So it's a great idea if we have the universal converter spec. The other thing is gRPC. For this one is also MicroProfile started the idea. However, Jakarta kind of also explore in the same area, and we might like merge the force into the Jakarta gRPC initiative there. And earlier on, I discussed the two like different releases. One is the platform, the other one is the standalone. So for the standalone specs, we put it as standalone. We said we're not sure whether they will stick. And also we want to evaluate now to see, I mean, which standalone spec should go merge into platform and etc. And some other standalone spec, such as context propagation. So now it's kind of, they are more close linked to Jakarta concurrency. So a lot of functionality there moved to Jakarta concurrency. Maybe it's kind of, we can like stabilize that one and use Jakarta concurrency once is all of the functionality moved to Jakarta concurrency. And then it's kind of in the Jakarta EE10, there's a new profile called a core profile. Core profile was created just to be used by like, one of the requirement is about MicroProfile, because in MicroProfile we use the CDI. However, some runtime, they don't want to implement the whole CDI model. So basically it's some implementation, they just want to support a part of the CDI. So it's so which is why now it's in the Jakarta EE10, the CDI is split into like different portions. One is kind of the core CDI. So we'll have the build time extension and etc. So we want to evaluate once the Jakarta core profile, Jakarta EE10 core profile released, and we want to evaluate the adoption of that. And then is the other thing is beam validation in Jakarta is very useful. And then in the next release Open API, we want to kind of integrate with Jakarta beam validation with Open API. In MicroProfile, we didn't have much data access like a story, and we have been discussing this in the past for a long time. And we might do something in this like area, such as we take some feedback or user experience from Spring data or from the like the Habitat, Panache, and etc. And maybe we want to do some like standardization in that area. So the next thing is about like good infrastructure ecosystem support. Also is we also want to evaluate whether there's a need to move to the Java 11. So for some specifications such as reactive messaging, because at the moment I use org.reactive streams, and as we know that Java 9 has a flow API, maybe if we kind of change the base from Java 8 to 11, I will simplify this specification. So basically, we allow the spec to freedom to explore if they want to move up their Java version, and they can. So this again, like, but if you don't need to use any new like Java features, and there's not necessary to need to move from 8 to 11 for no apparent reason. And I also want to like evaluate like some other cloud kind of all the new initiatives and etc. This containers cloud. So I'll give you a quick summary about like MicroProfile telemetry. So this is going to be kind of the hopefully the 1.0 will be released hopefully in the like April, May time. So this will be adopt OpenTelemetry tracing. As you know, OpenTelemetry has a 3 parts: a tracing, a logging, and metrics. So 3 parts. But only tracing is kind of the ready APIs, is kind of the stable APIs. For logging and metrics, they are still working on it. So we want to adopt tracing aspect. I want to support automatic instrumentation. Basically, is make the OpenTelemetry API work seamlessly with the JAX-RS and REST client. And basically, all these JAX-RS method automatically being traced. So it's their correlation ID automatically propagated. And also support a manual instrumentation. So basically, is that you can manually add with the span to some method if they are not a JAX-RS method. And also allow the injection, like a CDI injection for the OpenTelemetry APIs, such as tracer, span, and etc. So there's another concept, agent instrumentation. So we can use like the agent instrumentation is just gather all the telemetry data without any code modification. So it's this is very powerful as well. So it's 2 major things. One is JAX-RS automatically being method being automatically traced. The other one is the CDI integration. So basically, the OpenTelemetry tracer, span, and baggage, they're all injectable. So you can inject them and to see the information inside of it. So
I have
that's
a question about the agent instrumentation.
Yeah.
So agents are typically added at runtime, right? And so that would be a bit different from other MicroProfile things where you're assembling them at build time. And so is there consideration for including how to attach the agent at runtime in the MicroProfile spec?
So this is a greater question. Is the agent instrumentation basically like a runtime directly bring in the agent that's a dependency into the runtime? Is for the like a MicroProfile user, like the API aspect, and I think is you could just you can configure them. So is as far as that. So it basically is you can configure the provide some fine-tune aspect. So it's I'm not too sure what other the use case you are talking about the agent instrumentation, exposed to the end user aspect.
I just mean is attaching the agent going to be part of the spec? Like usually, sometimes you attach the agent with a dash Java agent flag, right? And so that would seem to me to be outside of what MicroProfile usually covers, because it's telling the user how they need to launch their application. Or
I see. Yeah. So probably it won't go to that kind of the level of the you do the dash Java agent. So I think is we will expose as the kind of MicroProfile configure properties. So you configure via kind of the properties. So you can put the properties in your MicroProfile dash configure properties or any other configure sources and configure that way.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. For the metrics, so it's the metrics 5.0 again is kind of the at the moment it was a long conversation. The whole last year, the different vendors have different ideas how to pull in a micrometer. So at the moment is kind of the few companies favor the idea of the provider shame layer. Basically, MicroProfile metrics API is still good and usable, and then behind the scene, and you can bring in the micrometer. So basically, is the application runtime they can the implementer they can expose the micrometer APIs, but in the MicroProfile we don't expose these micrometer APIs. So this is one of the proposal. So very soon, I think in the next few weeks, there will be kind of they need to come down one decision via vote and etc. and to make a direction. So because there's some customers that have really good feedback about current MicroProfile metrics, we don't really want to cut this customer off. Also, there's some customer want to see the data from micrometer. So probably the shame layer is a good compromise. I'm wondering, any of you have any special kind of thought or usage about micrometer or MicroProfile metrics? Any feedback? Okay, probably no then. If you have, just directly post on the chat. And then for the platform release in the 2022, we are not going to do, normally in my timeline for the releases, prior to the working group, we do 3 releases per year. And then because the setup working group, there's a lot of admin overhead, etc. So it's we did 2 releases in 2022, 2 releases in 2021. And then from this year, we are trying to do 3 releases. However, because the 2021 release is back in the December time, and then the February is too close. So, and then no spec kind of ready to do a more update. So we are going to skip the February release, directly jump into the July release. So in July release, we try to release kind of the put a MicroProfile telemetry 1.0 in the July release, which should be 6.0. And also we are going to probably remove the open tracing, MicroProfile open tracing from 6.0. And also hopefully we get some metrics 5.0 and also open APS 3.1. Maybe there's some other spec updates such as JWT or health, etc. So for the October, November release, so that's to be determined. So that's pretty much towards the end of the presentation. And as I mentioned, the MicroProfile is an open source community. Please get involved. So we really need your help to move this initiative faster and towards the customer need, towards the developers need. And so this is a good some good links for you to get started. I highly recommend you check out openliberty.io guide. So if you click that link, it gives you a lot of guide. So basically it teach you how to use a MicroProfile. It's only each one just take you half an hour or 20 minutes to understand all the things about MicroProfile. It has everything you need about MicroProfile. And then it's kind of the, if you want to try out the Eclipse Transformer, this is the kind of the link. And this is the blog I showed you earlier. Finally, and let me do quickly advertise my book. The book I co-authored, and the lead author for this one is MicroProfile book. Is a practical cloud native Java development with MicroProfile using 4.1 and based on Open Liberty. And it has a real a use case. There's kind of a lot code samples for you to look at. And you can access the Amazon via this short URL, ibm.base/MicroProfile book. This is the QR code I created. So if you want to use MicroProfile, this is a book. This is a biased opinion. Highly recommend it to you to take a copy of this book. And thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, please ask us straight away. By the way, this is my Twitter ID. If you want to ask more questions afterwards, please directly talk to me via Twitter. Okay, let me stop sharing. Are there any questions?
Hey, Emily, quick question. Number one, thank you for your contribution today and to the open source community in general.
Oh, thank you, Ricky. Great.
Appreciate that. I did have one question pertaining to, so there's this dilemma with like AWS Lambda functions where you have like this cold start problem. Is there anything in MicroProfile that may sway developers' mindsets away from, say, going with Spring to go with MicroProfile, understanding that like there's updates coming in LTSs of Java that are supposed to like help with that? But is there anything in the MicroProfile framework that maybe might tip the scale for somebody that is trying to deploy something in AWS Lambda?
Yeah, so this is a really, really good question. Do you know Adam Bean? Okay, so he's a pretty famous a Java champion. He did quite a few talks and blogs about Lambda function deploying MicroProfile on the as the AWS Lambda. So there's another thing is kind of the Spring, as you mentioned, is kind of on the Spring Boot is a bit slow, and there's a lot a really modern server like a runtime, like a Liberty, Quarkus, and Helidon, etc. They're all MicroProfile standard based. So it's Quarkus has kind of the Lambda extension. Actually, the other thing is kind of the also I think is a great idea. It's a great question, Ricky. You brought it up. So this is later last year Christmas time. I had a chat. Adam Bean had a chat with me on the AirHack. If you search AirHack TV, so he talked a lot about the MicroProfile on the Lambda, on the AWS Lambda, running as a AWS Lambda. So I think the other thing is that maybe the kind of MicroProfile should explore in this area to provide kind of the very kind of smooth solution directly like MicroProfile app and automatically run as AWS Lambda. So this is also the other thing I'm thinking maybe is spending some time to have a look as well. So he talked a lot with me about this AWS Lambda, and he said it could be a very niche spec and it could be very easy to do. Yeah, so maybe this is a kind of a good value proposition for MicroProfile.
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of we're all thinking along the similar lines. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. Yes.
Any other questions?
Yeah, sorry.
No,
Search if you Google AirHack TV, like Adam Bean, AirHack TV, Adam Bean, it's with me. I talk about MicroProfile 5, and then he has a lot insight about MicroProfile 5, about MicroProfile, not MicroProfile 5. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if there are any more questions, but I also added the link to his website in the chat. So, yeah, if you ever see, he's quite the character, and he does a lot of these, 2-3 minute vignettes on a particular topic on Java, and they're pretty good. So I've always enjoyed watching them. So,
yeah. recently he's on the AWS Lambda. So he did another webcast about AWS Lambda recently. Yes.
Yeah. So complete non-techie question. Do you have a buy me a coffee link by chance? I feel like I owe you something for this.
Are you in the New Jersey?
Am I injured? No, like I'm actually not. I'm a little bit of a distance away in Delaware, but that's why I was hoping you had like a buy me a coffee link so that I could just send you a coffee and then you could redeem it at your favorite place.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, you should do that.
Yeah.
Then you'll have you'll have too many coffees you won't know what to do with.
Yeah, absolutely. I can open a coffee shop. Here you go and hand out a coffee. Oh yeah, it's very nice of you. Thank you so much. And then, like as I mentioned earlier, is in March I'm hoping to go to Java Land, and also I plan to travel to Nexus, and hopefully one day we can meet like at some conferences. Yeah. Yeah, we can connect on Twitter, and you got my Twitter handle. Yeah.
Oops.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think
No, my radio went off. Sorry.
If you're able, are you able to post it in the chat, Emily? That would be great.
My Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there already, Ricky, if you just scroll up.
Oh, it's already there.
Yep, we got you, girl.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Kathleen.
You're welcome.
Proactive.
We have a great bunch here helping us out on the Java group. So
yeah, I really like this Java group. And as I said, hopefully one day, I haven't ever been to New Jersey, and hopefully one day I can visit you.
that would be awesome. Yeah. Great,
Yeah, one day, someday, when the world open up, I think I can do a Java tour. I want to one day I want to do a Java tour. Maybe go on to each year, go on and visit a few jobs.
Cool.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for the raffle. We're giving away a license for IntelliJ IDEA. I think the license is good for 1 year, and then the coupon, whoever wins, is good for like a month or maybe 3 months or something. But the coupon itself. But are there any other questions? First of all, before I share my screen for the end.
Emily, you showed us a bunch of URLs. Where can we get them here?
Oh yeah. Let me copy that. Put on the. Let me copy that. Let me put on the chat.
So Emily, this was awesome. It was especially, I obviously knew some of the things going on. But I particularly enjoyed seeing the Eclipse Transformer in action. I was trying to upgrade my Jakarta NoSQL application that I've been demoing since May of last year to all the Jakarta namespaces, but I had some difficulty in the Java, or what is it, the SE container and the SE container initializer. I was going back and forth with Ottavio on that, and I think it had something to do with the vendors not being up to speed with MicroProfile 5. So I tried, and but I don't know. I should, if I didn't use those containers, it might not be an issue. So, but work in progress.
Yeah, try it out. Let me know if it doesn't. So I know.
Yeah, I didn't use the transformer. I just, since there aren't that many files in the application.
Oh, you transform yourself.
Yeah. So, but be kind of interesting to try that out too. So.
Yeah. So I know it's a transformer. Is also in some files, or especially if you use a service loader pattern, and then the Java X like inside the file and also inside the file structure is quite difficult. Sometimes you forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, maybe I forgot some stuff too, but so I made a big mess of the application, and Otavio bailed me out.
yeah.
So, but yeah, so yeah, just so our Java group too actually has adopted one of the Jakarta EE specifications, which the community encourages Java groups to do, and so we have adopted the Jakarta NoSQL specification. So
Oh yeah, that's good.
I've been contributing to that a little at a time,
Yeah.
and also too, where as far as the MicroProfile working group, we're one of 3 Java groups that are on the contributing members. So it's us, Atlanta, and the iJug out in Germany.
Yes, thank you for that. This is a really unique thing for MicroProfile, and then for any other community. Basically, the JAG directly get involved. Yeah.
Yeah, it's using getting the getting the word out there, and the awareness of what's available, for microservice development is going through the Java groups is a great way of doing it. So
yeah,
whether it's us or Chicago or New York, so.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? And thank you, Jesse, for the +1 on the Jakarta NoSQL.
Just wanted to thank Emily for the talk. I really enjoyed it. To be honest, it was very good.
Thank you, Neha. Yeah, great to see you here. I'm so pleased. Thank you again for inviting me. It's a great experience and great, like a very nice, interactive, and it's like a family. So really nice. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. With that, probably yes, I hope to see you in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If there are no other questions, I'll share my screen and do the last couple of slides, and then we'll have the raffle. That's okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Emily.
Take care, Emily. Yep.
Bye.
Let's make sure I'm in the right screen. All right. Let's see. Hold on, so I can share screen. Here we go. Okay. All right. So let's. All right. This is where we left off. And so we have some upcoming events, just to make you aware. The Trenton Computer Festival is a Friday and Saturday. This is one of the oldest computer festivals I don't know if in the world or whatever, but it's the first TCF was in 1976. And I was alive, and I know some of us were alive back then, but I would imagine a lot of you young folks out there were not alive then, but and then since 2006 is the IT Professional Conference, which is the day on Friday, March 18th of this year. I am the conference chair of this, and we have a great bunch of talks. Let's see if this shoots up here. Yeah, okay. And we have the confirmed speakers here already. You'll see Neha there and myself and a few of the others. So I'm working on the grid is almost done. I had 2 spots open, so look for more information on that. Where are we here? Okay. And then of course Nexus, which was mentioned a couple of times, and this is on April 12th to 14th in Atlanta. And okay, and we're working on confirming. Oh wait, I missed one here. Ah, yes. Upcoming meetings for us, we're trying to confirm some scheduling between Mary Grigleski and for Venkat Submaraniam. But it was a couple of weeks ago, and knowing Venkat's schedule, hopefully he'll still be available on the 26th, but you'll hear more about that as we go. So that's what we have kind of in mind for the next couple of months. Let's see, and we have a few other folks. We're trying to get Justin Lee, and let's see who else. Maybe even Adam Bain, which suggested by one of us in the leadership team. And then we have friends of the Garden State Jug, and next Tuesday, the Atlanta group has Reading, Writing, and Refactoring by Nathaniel Shuda. You can get to the link there to find out more. And our friends over at Kansas City, their meeting is on the 17th of it's a week from today. So you can find out more about that. So and then basic rules we have for the giveaway. Of course, you must be present, so we confirm your attendance still, and all that good stuff. So Barry, are you doing the raffle? I believe.
Indeed. If you can stop screen sharing, then I'll.
Oh, that would be okay. Okay, so before I do there, of course I cannot indulge right now, but because I'm at work still. But after work, I do have some plans to go to a new brewery that's in locally here. So I'll stop sharing with that. So, all right, take it on, boy.
So I'm just going to take it over here for a minute, and then I'll hand it back to you, Mike. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty much done. So.
Well, you get to say the last word and mention beer one more time. Okay.
Yes, of course. That's right.
Here we go.
For those of you who don't know, I'm a huge fan of craft beer. So. Well, this is interesting.
I can't see. You're sharing my screen. I'm sharing the wheel.
Yes.
There we go.
Right now.
Here's what we've got. We've got a spinning wheel with numbers 0 to 49, courtesy of a website called wheelofnames.com. Before we spin the wheel, I'm going to ask people to type in the chat a number from 0 to 49. And when you do that, then you're guessing where the wheel will show up. Type that in the chat, please. By the way, if you're listening on YouTube, there is no chat. This is only for Zoom attendees. Sorry about that. Type in a number. It'll give people a few seconds, moments to do that. And now the winner is going to be whoever gets closest mod 50 to the number that the wheel spins. In case of a tie, what we're going to do is put both winners in the Roman Colosseum with swords and lions and see who's left to get the prize. Any more entries?
Speak now or forever hold your peace until next month. Anyway.
All right, here we go. I'm going to spin the wheel. Oh, that looks good. There we go. And the number is 31. Who is closest to 31? Whoa, somebody got 31. Walter, 32. Nobody else is in the 30s. So Walter, you are the winner.
Awesome.
Send your email to info@gsjug.org.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining today. So I just put the email address in there, and then I'll I'll send you the coupon by either later tonight or early tomorrow morning.
Appreciate it, guys.
Oh, thanks for joining us. So we all hope that you enjoyed today's talk. I don't know how many of you guys are first timers, but we also hope you come back and visit us at an upcoming meeting. So gsjug.org is the website, and it's pretty current. I'd like to make sure everything is fresh. Also, there is a link to the YouTube video will be on the website as well. So, and if you look at our resources page, then you'll see the links for the previous meetings we've had. Especially even going back to our old days of the old computer club, we have one from 2017, I believe, with Victor Gumoff that he recorded himself, which was cool. But so stay tuned for what's coming up next month. And we hope to have Mary Grigleski talking about IoT. So she's recently moved on to a new position, and she could give us a talk on that. And without further ado, thanks for coming out for lunchtime too. So this was definitely something first time for us. It was nice to see some good attendance, taking time out of your workday to visit with us. So, but normally our start times are 6:30 on the second Tuesday of the month. We reschedule based on speaker availability, et cetera. So, all right. So with that, congrats, Walter, and you'll hear from me as soon as I get your email. All right. All right, folks. All right. Take care.
I
Thanks all. See you next time.